Welcome, everyone. So, when you look at your syllabus and you see business mathematics, I know what some of you might be thinking. It sounds like another hurdle to clear, right? A bunch of formulas to memorize. But what if I told you this course is about something much more powerful? It's not just about math. It's about learning the fundamental language of business strategy, the language that drives every single important decision in every successful company on the planet.
And let's be real for a second. It's completely fair to ask, is this just another required course I need to get through to get my degree? It's a valid question, but I want us to try and reframe that. What if this course is actually the key that unlocks how billion-dollar companies really work? What if it's the secret to understanding how their leaders think? What if this is quite literally the most practical and powerful tool you are going to acquire in your entire business education?
I want this idea to be our guiding principle for today. See, the real power here isn't just in calculating a number correctly. Honestly, a simple spreadsheet can do that. The real skill, the one that gets you noticed, is using that number to ask a smarter, deeper question. For instance, it's not enough to just find a product's break-even point. The strategic question is, okay, what does this break-even number tell us about our pricing strategy, our cost structure, and our vulnerability to a new competitor? That's where math stops being a calculation and starts being a strategy. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to establish why math is a strategic tool. Then, we'll do a deep dive into 3 critical areas where it's absolutely essential: finance, logistics, and marketing. And finally, and this is the most important part, we'll see how all of these pieces have to come together to drive the kind of big picture decisions that executives have to make every single day.
All right, let's jump right in. We are officially moving beyond the neat and tidy problems you see in a textbook and into the messy, complicated reality of a corporate boardroom.
The world of business is full of ambiguity. Think about the questions leaders face. Should we expand into the Asian market? Should we invest millions in this unproven new technology? These are huge, risky questions with no easy answers. Math is the framework we use to cut through all that fog. It lets us build models of different possible futures. It lets us put a number on risks, so it's not just a vague feeling. It allows us to go from a gut instinct of, yeah, I think this could work, to a data-backed conclusion like, this is our most profitable path forward, and we project a 15% return over the next 5 years. It brings clarity out of the chaos.
Let's get into our first pillar, finance. In the financial world, every single decision, whether it's buying a new coffee machine or acquiring a competitor for billions of dollars, has to be justified with numbers.
You know, at its core, financial math is all about one thing: allocating your company's capital, its money, in the smartest way possible. A central concept here is something called present value. Just think about it for a second. Would you rather have $1,000 today or $1,000 5 years from now? Today, of course. But why? Because you can invest that money today and it will grow. Present value is simply the formula that tells us exactly what a future pile of cash is worth to us, right here, right now. It's what allows us to compare different investments that pay off over different timelines on an equal foot. Okay, team, let's look at this. Imagine we're in a meeting. We have 3 potential projects on the table. Project A is the safe bet. Project B is a big swing for the fences, could have a huge payoff. Project C is cheap, but it's not really going to move the needle. So how do we decide? We don't just go with our gut. We use 2 key tools. First, we calculate the net present value, or NPV. This takes all the future cash we expect from a project, discounts it back to today's dollars, and then subtracts the initial cost. If the NPV is positive, the project adds value to the company. The higher, the better. Second, we look at the internal rate of return, or IRR. You can think of this as the project's own internal interest rate. An IRR of 20% is like earning a 20% return on your money each year within that project. We then compare that IRR to our company's own minimum required rate of return to see if it's even worth considering.
Now, this brings us to a classic mistake I see students make all the time. They look at investment B, they see that big potential return, and they get tunnel vision. But here's the thing, return is absolutely meaningless without considering risk. A seasoned financial analyst never just looks at the best case scenario. Let's do the math. A potential billion-dollar return with only a 10% chance of success has a risk-adjusted expected value of $100 million. But what about a project with a $200 million return and a 90% chance of success? Well, its expected value is $180 million. Suddenly, the smaller project is the far smarter, more valuable bet. That, right there, is the essence of professional capital allocation.
Okay, let's shift gears now.
We're moving from the abstract world of financial models to the very physical heart of a business, its supply chain. This is where math meets trucks on the highway, boxes in a warehouse, and products on a shelf.
Logistics is really all about solving incredibly complex optimization puzzles. Take inventory, for example. How much product should you keep in your warehouse? If you have too much, you're tying up cash and paying for storage. If you have too little, you run out and you lose sales. The mathematical model for this is called the economic order quantity, or EOQ. It's a formula that finds the absolute perfect balance point between your inventory holding costs and your ordering costs to give you the lowest possible total expense. This isn't a guess. It's a precise calculation that saves large companies millions upon millions of dollars every single year.
Okay, team, listen up. Sales of the new product are through the roof. That's the good news. The bad news is our shipping costs are destroying our profit margins, and customers are starting to complain about delays. We have to optimize. So here's the big question. Do we spend the money to build a new distribution center in Texas to be closer to our customers in the Sun Belt? The answer isn't going to come from a debate in this boardroom. It's going to come from the math. We will build a detailed model that compares the transportation cost savings against the tens of millions in capital expense and the ongoing operational costs of that new facility. The correct answer is in that financial model.
And this scenario illustrates another really critical mistake: thinking in silos. It's so easy to just say, hey, let's just find the cheapest shipping company. But that is a rookie error. Let me be clear. Saving $2 on a shipment by using a slower service is a catastrophic failure if that product arrives a week late, the angry customer cancels their entire order, and then goes online and tells 10 friends about their terrible experience. You have to use math to model and optimize the entire system for the lowest total landed cost while also ensuring the best possible outcome for the customer. All right, let's move on to our final pillar, marketing. Now, for decades, this was kind of seen as the creative department, maybe a little bit of arts and crafts. Not anymore. Today, marketing is a data science, and it is held accountable for every single dollar it spends. Modern marketing absolutely runs on math. We have to prove our value. And one of the most critical metrics we use is something called customer lifetime value, or CLV. Now, this isn't just about what a customer buys from you today. It's a predictive model of the total net profit your company expects to make from that single customer over the entire relationship with them. A high CLV is the holy grail. It tells you that you've built a loyal, profitable customer base, and that is the most valuable asset a company can have. Okay, the CEO has asked if our marketing budget is working. I can't just go into her office and show her our cool new ad. I have to present the math. So I'll start with this. Our customer acquisition cost, or CAC, that's the total amount we spend on everything to get one new customer, is $50. Next, the customer lifetime value, or CLV, for the customers we acquire through this campaign is, on average, $250. This gives us a CLV to CAC ratio of 5 to 1. Now, a healthy business needs a ratio of at least 3 to 1. We are crushing it. This isn't my opinion. This is the data that proves our strategy is highly profitable and deserves more investment next quarter. So, the crucial point here, the big trap to avoid, is getting obsessed with what we call vanity metrics. 1 million views on a TikTok video feels great, but it doesn't pay anyone's salary. It is completely worthless if it doesn't lead to new, profitable customers. The only metrics that actually matter are the ones that connect directly to the company's bottom line: return on investment, customer lifetime value, and customer acquisition cost. For every single dollar we put into a marketing campaign, how many dollars of actual profit come out the other end? That is the only question the C-suite really cares about.
All right, now we come to the most important part of this whole discussion: finance, logistics, and marketing. These are not separate subjects in the real world. In a real business, they are deeply, fundamentally intertwined. The truly brilliant business decisions require integrated, systems-level thinking. Let's just trace the connections. Imagine our marketing team launches an absolutely brilliant campaign. The math was solid, the ROI looks fantastic, and boom, it generates 50,000 unexpected new orders. A huge win for the marketing department, right? But that incredible success immediately becomes a massive problem for the logistics team. The supply chain is completely strained. They're forced to pay for expensive expedited shipping and authorize tons of overtime in the warehouse just to keep up with demand. The carefully optimized cost per unit for delivery that they worked so hard on, it skyrockets. And so now the problem lands on the desk of the finance department. They have to rerun all the numbers. Yes, revenue is way up from those 50,000 new sales, but the crucial question is this: is all that extra profit being completely wiped out, or even worse, turned into a loss by the explosion in fulfillment costs? Do you see it?
A huge win in one department created a crisis in another, and it completely changed the financial outcome for the entire company. It is entirely possible to massively increase your revenue while simultaneously destroying your net profit. Only by building a mathematical model of the entire system can you see the real truth of the situation. This is the difference between thinking like a department manager and thinking like a CEO. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. You are not in this class to learn how to solve isolated problems from a textbook. You are learning the individual components so that you can begin to construct, interpret, and refine the complex, interconnected models that successful businesses actually run on.
This knowledge is what gives you power. It's the power to not just follow instructions in a business, but to truly understand the entire system, to challenge the existing strategy, and eventually to lead it. You are learning how to read and write the language of business itself. So my question to you is this. Now that you're getting the tools, what stories will you tell? What problems will you solve?